Good afternoon. Honorable guests, co-chairs, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. Let me begin by framing the problem at hand. The peace and stability of Somalia rests on our ability to deliver real development. Somalia is the 5th poorest country in the world, with an estimated 43% of the population living on less than $1 a day. Young Somalis are most affected by this, with 2/3 of them unemployed and many risking their lives in the high seas for a future we cannot afford them at home. Large infrastructure destructions have crippled productive sectors and hindered our ability to manage cyclical droughts. We can debate whether these problems are causes or symptoms of insecurity. However, there is no doubt the two are intertwined. We must invest in the economic development of Somalia, as any security gains made will remain fragile in the face of extreme poverty. Today, Somalia has an important opportunity, and we have gathered around this table to discuss how to unlock this great potential. We have spent the past year defining our top national priorities under the National Development Plan, NDP, through a series of extensive countrywide consultations, and I am pleased to report that it's been fully adopted by our current administration. The NDP has set 3 interdependent goals for economic development. First is to build the basic infrastructure to create access to markets, rehabilitate water systems, and invest in renewable and affordable energy. The second is to enhance the productivity of agribusiness, including agriculture, fisheries, and livestock. And third is to increase access to financial services and skilled labor. Together, these priorities will enable economic growth, create employment, and promote resilience. Ladies and gentlemen, Somalia is a bright example for reform demonstrated by the willingness of our government and our people for change. There is a positive narrative outside the headlines you normally see in the media. This is a story of a country that has undergone a remarkable transformation. Industries such as money transfer agencies and telecommunication services have thrived, with 1.3 billion sent in remittance annually and approximately 80% of the population owning a mobile phone. International trade has grown, with exports almost tripling in the past 6 years. The livestock industry is recovering, and our long coastline is home to some of the richest fishing grounds in the world. Much of this is due to Somalia's vibrant and resourceful private sector. Yesterday, we met with key representatives from the Somali private sector and international development partners on a set of priority reforms and enabling actions that will accelerate Somalia's economic recovery. Together, we endorsed an ambitious public-private cooperation agreement that will guide a closer public-private partnership in delivering our shared economic priorities and harness a share of domestic and international investment for growth. If Somalia's economy is to grow, our government must effectively play its role in creating an enabling environment characterized by political stability, security, good governance, and effective fiscal and monetary policies. Ladies and gentlemen, much has been done in recent years to improve fiscal management and strengthen institutions. We have a credible 2017 budget, underpinned by more realistic revenue measures based on robust analysis. We have introduced electronic payments, scaled up the Somali financial management systems, with all transactions processed live and handling of cash is minimized. Last year, we launched our public financial management action plan, laying out our top priorities and defining a clear path for reform. We have taken steps in the short term to improve administrative capabilities by modernizing tax collection and registering taxpayers while we revisit tax legislation, broaden the tax base, and invest in proposed systems in the medium to long term. These remains at the top of our priority and is the only path towards sensibility. We have started to look beyond the center towards a national physical framework leading to an agreement on unified tariffs on products across all regions, as well as adopting a single system for customs management. We have progressed the legislative framework, a key prerequisite for an enabling environment, with legislation passed by Parliament, including the Foreign Investment Law, Anti-Money Laundering, and the Procurement Bill. We remain committed to addressing issues of transparency and corruption, passing the necessary bill for establishing the Anti-Corruption Commission and implementing the Open Government Initiative. Ladies and gentlemen, as we are aware, access to financing is a key enabler for economic growth. The Central Bank of Somalia, with the support from IMF, World Bank, and other international partners, has started the process of prudential regulation and examination of money transfer companies. And Commercial Bank has issued licenses to banks, thus strengthening the normal banking sector. Remittances remain a critical lifeline to millions in Somalia, and we must work towards securing durable relationships with correspondent banks, addressing regulatory and risk concerns in originating remittance markets, and meeting supervision, regulatory, and identity requirements within Somalia. Restoring the credibility of Somalia's currency will also be crucial to economic development. The CPS, with advice and assistance from the IMF, is establishing a roadmap for a comprehensive national currency reform, taking into account the underlying situation, security issues, and socio-political factors. Last year, Somalia realized a significant milestone with the commencement of the first IMF staff monitoring program, which has brought much-needed focus to our institution building and elevated political support for structural reforms. We have satisfactorily completed our first SMP, and we look forward to progressing an elevated new set of structural reform benchmarks. We are confident we will meet these benchmarks, as we can already point to a positive track record of progress within a short period of time. Ladies and gentlemen, access to financing continues to be limited for both public and private spheres. It will be a great challenge for Somalia to meet its development goals and achieve real growth without access to concessionary resources of the type and the magnitude the institutions such as IDA, African Development Bank, and Islamic Development Bank can provide. Somalia needs debt relief to access these resources. Let me repeat, Somalia needs debt relief to access these resources. We recognize that achieving debt relief will itself be a challenge and will take time, but we need to embark on this path today, and we are committed to take the necessary steps. I can assure you, as government, we are committed to meeting all of the necessary structural reform benchmarks. We believe that achieving such a track record through solid and sound financial and economic reforms will not only lead to debt relief, but it will also the right thing to do for our economy and national development. At the highest level of the Somali government, there is a commitment for accountability, transparency, and respect for the rule of law. President Farmajo, Prime Minister Hassan, and the Somali government as a whole, we're all profoundly committed to promise delivery and to change words into actions. We are proud to declare with an administration committed to reform at all levels of government, and an administration which means business in moving Somalia forward. By the grace of Almighty, Somalia shall regain its rightful place and rightful status on the world stage. Together we can deliver Nabad and Nolol, peace and prosperity for Somalia. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, Minister, thank you for your very comprehensive case that has been made in terms of the structural reforms and the economic recovery that you and the government are embarking on. Could I now ask for the